Admiral Jonathan Hale's boots clicked against the metallic walkway as he stepped off his Star Cruiser, the weight of his uniform pressing against him like the responsibility he carried. Veralia sprawled before him, alive with a kaleidoscope of colors. The hum of hovering vehicles blending with the chatter of thousands of alien voices. Merchants shouting over one another, their holographic displays flickering in shades of neon. And the warm artificial sunlight reflecting off polished metal surfaces, making the city feel alive in a way Jonathan had not experienced in years. He moved forward deliberately, his gaze scanning the crowd, his mind calculating. Noting every potential threat, every opportunity, he had a mission. A mission that would define Earth's standing in this sector. And he could not afford mistakes. His task was simple in description, impossible in execution. Negotiate a trade alliance with the Varelian Council. Assert Earth's influence, and avoid drawing the attention of factions already suspicious of humans. He had prepared for weeks, every detail memorized, every contingency considered. Yet nothing could have prepared him for what he saw next. She appeared suddenly, as though materializing from the crowd itself. Lyra. An alien woman whose presence seemed to command the very space around her. Her silver hair cascaded like molten metal, catching the light with every subtle movement. Her deep blue skin shimmered in contrast, almost ethereal under the city's neon glow. And her sapphire eyes cut through the crowd. Sharp, assessing, and merciless, she moved with a predator's elegance. Long fingers drumming impatiently against her belt as she scanned the crowd, and when she spotted Jonathan, a smirk played across her lips, deliberate, teasing, and full of challenge. "You humans are all the same," she said, her voice carrying across the walkway, sharp, melodic, and teasing in a way that made heads turn, so stiff, so predictable. Jonathan froze, if only for a heartbeat, the words striking at him. Not physically, but mentally, she wasn't speaking to just anyone. She was speaking to him, mocking him personally. An alien woman, arrogant and unafraid. Daring him to respond, but he didn't flinch. He could not afford to. He had faced warlords, mercenaries, even interstellar pirates. This was nothing, a sassy alien woman. While sharp-tongued, was not a threat to an Earth admiral. Not in any measurable sense. She circled him slowly, her eyes appraising, smirking like a predator circling its prey. "And you? You look like a lost puppy. Did your mommy pack your lunch, Admiral?" Jonathan's eyes narrowed, but he remained calm. Every muscle in his body still controlled, disciplined. His mission relied on subtlety. Remaining unseen and unprovoked, he ignored her taunts, weaving through the crowd with careful steps. But she followed, always present, always mocking, turning every movement into a spectacle of ridicule. Hours passed, and the insults grew sharper, more deliberate. "You humans think you're clever," she said at one point, tilting her head and fixing him with a gaze that seemed to pierce through the fabric of his uniform. "But you can barely handle a marketplace without tripping over your own feet." Jonathan's patience was thinning. Yet he maintained composure. The weight of the human fleet behind him made invisibility paramount. For now, Earth's presence on Veralia had to remain a whisper. A shadow, something they could observe without noticing. By mid-afternoon, his attempts at blending in had failed entirely. Lyra was everywhere, appearing unexpectedly, mocking him at every corner, each insult cutting deeper than the last. Testing his patience, enjoying his restraint. Her gleeful malice unrelenting. It was then that the unexpected happened. A loud explosion reverberated through the bazaar, smoke curling skyward. The cries of panicked citizens blending with the screech of overturned carts. A gang of smugglers armed with plasma rifles had attacked a diplomatic convoy. The chaos was instantaneous, overwhelming. Jonathan reacted before thinking, the instincts of decades of combat and strategy taking over. Move civilians to the east exit. Contain the attackers. His voice was calm, precise, carrying the weight of command. Each word like a knife cutting through the chaos. Directing, guiding, controlling, Lyra's smirk vanished. Her eyes widening as she watched him orchestrate a defense. Neutralizing threats, guiding civilians to safety. All without hesitation, without panic, without error. You're not just some weak human, she muttered under her breath, disbelief coloring her voice. She had expected a timid, awkward diplomat, a human who would crumble under pressure. Instead, she saw a man who could turn a chaotic battlefield into an organized defense within seconds. The skirmish ended as suddenly as it had begun. The convoy intact, smugglers retreating, civilians cheering, Lyra approached him, still trying to reconcile the image of this calm, authoritative man with the human she had mocked so relentlessly hours ago. "What are you?" she asked softly, curiosity blending with lingering skepticism. "A soldier? A spy?" Jonathan gave her a small, enigmatic smile. "You could say I have experience," he replied, the words deliberate, carrying weight, his composure never faltering, Lyra's curiosity mixed with a begrudging respect, though she refused to admit it openly. "Experience? Ha! I insulted you all morning, thinking you were a human fool, and now I don't know what to think," she said, her voice tinged with a mixture of amusement and disbelief. Jonathan chuckled lightly. "Sometimes first impressions are wrong. But you learned fast." As night fell over Viralia, the city lights casting long reflections across the rooftops, Lyra found him on a quiet ledge overlooking the sprawling metropolis. The chaos of the bazaar seemed like a distant memory now. Her posture softened, less predatory, more curious. That display earlier," she said, hesitating, words catching as she tried to express the awe she felt. "You commanded humans and aliens and handled that attack like it was nothing. I've never seen a human do that." Jonathan turned slowly, his uniform catching the neon reflections of the city below. Tall, imposing, yet calm, a man whose presence demanded attention. "I am Admiral Jonathan Halley, of the Earth Fleet," he said evenly, deliberately revealing the truth. Lyra froze, sapphire eyes wide, silver hair glinting like molten metal in the neon glow. "Of Earth? You're commanding the human armada?" she asked, disbelief evident in every syllable. "Yes," Jonathan confirmed, calm, measured. "And I came here on a diplomatic mission, but it seems I had to earn my introduction the hard way." Lyra laughed, a sound that mixed disbelief and admiration. "So, all morning I've been insulting the Admiral of Earth. I may have overestimated my cleverness." Jonathan smirked, only slightly. From that moment, everything changed. Lyra no longer mocked him openly, her sharp tongue tempered by a newfound respect. She guided him through Virelia's complex political underworld, navigating the city where alliances shifted like grains of sand in the wind. Over the following days, they faced threats together, the kind that tested patience, courage, and trust. Assassins attempting to silence the human diplomat emerged from the shadows. Political intrigue within the council threatened to unravel the fragile negotiations. Smugglers and pirates sought to exploit the presence of Earth's delegation. Jonathan faced each challenge with calm authority. Precision and foresight, Lyra watched. Her admiration growing with each passing hour, she began to respect his discipline, his strategic mind, his integrity, and despite herself, she felt a subtle spark when he smiled, or when a fleeting glimmer of humor shone through his otherwise stern demeanor. In one particularly tense encounter, a faction opposed to Earth's influence tried to ambush the delegation within the council building itself. Jonathan's instincts flared. He moved through the corridors like a predator, anticipating every move, reading every shadow, Lyra by his side, feeding him intelligence, scanning the area. the two of them moving in seamless coordination. He commanded tactical responses, she provided insight. And together they turned what could have been catastrophe into a historic success. Securing the treaty and the safety of all involved, after the dust settled, they emerged onto a balcony overlooking the neon-lit city, the weight of the mission lifting slowly. Lyra turned to him, her expression softer now, her sharp edges worn down by respect and awe. "I underestimated humans." "I underestimated you," she admitted, the words almost catching in her throat. Jonathan allowed himself a small smile, the first real one in days. "And yet, here we are. Perhaps some insults are worth enduring, if they lead to allies like you," he said, his voice steady, calm, confident, the tone carrying both humor and gravity. Lyra tilted her head, silver hair glinting in the city lights, a sly grin returning to her lips. "Don't get too cocky, Admiral. I may have respect for you, but that doesn't mean I'm letting you off easy next time," Jonathan chuckled. The sound low, easy, genuine. Wouldn't expect anything less, and together they descended into the city streets. No longer adversaries, no longer strangers, but allies bound by respect, trust, and the subtle spark of something neither wanted to admit outright. Over the next few days, Jonathan and Lyra continued to navigate the treacherous waters of Varelia's political landscape, encountering backroom negotiations with hidden agendas, spies masquerading as couriers, and criminals trying to take advantage of the human presence. They moved as a unit, Lyra's knowledge of the city and Jonathan's strategic mind complementing each other perfectly. Even in moments of danger, there was a silent understanding, a wordless communication, a trust that grew deeper with every shared challenge. And yet, the tension never fully dissipated. Her teasing, sharp tongue now laced with respect, and the subtle electricity between them simmering beneath the surface. Every time he saved a life, averted disaster, or outmaneuvered a threat, her gaze lingered longer than necessary, her respect turning slowly into something more, something dangerous to admit. The city became their chessboard, and together, they moved pieces with precision, anticipating each twist, each betrayal, each shadowed threat, and in doing so, they discovered a rhythm. A partnership that neither had expected. One evening, a messenger arrived with intelligence that an unknown faction planned to disrupt the council's vote on the treaty. Jonathan immediately assessed the situation. Devising a plan with meticulous care, he briefed Lyra, detailing positions, contingencies, escape routes, and countermeasures. She nodded, her confidence in him unspoken but clear. When the time came, they executed flawlessly, neutralizing threats, securing the council chambers, and protecting both Earth's delegation and the Varelian allies. As the last of the saboteurs was detained, the council chamber erupted in cautious celebration. Relief mingled with awe at how effectively the humans had acted. Lyra turned to Jonathan once again, her expression softening. You truly are extraordinary." "Admiral," she whispered, almost shyly, a far cry from the teasing alien who had insulted him relentlessly just days before. Jonathan regarded her calmly, the weight of command still present, yet the tension between them now carrying a subtle warmth. "Extraordinary or not," he said quietly, "our work isn't done. But it seems first impressions can indeed be deceiving." Lyra's laugh was soft, amused, but sincere, the sparkle in her eyes undeniable. Perhaps, Admiral, I owe you more than an apology. Perhaps respect. Perhaps more." Jonathan's smile was slow, deliberate, a rare glimpse of ease. "Respect is earned, Lyra. Everything else is optional." And with that, they walked into the neon-lit streets once more, the city alive around them, the night stretching out with infinite possibilities, enemies lurking, allies forming, and the future uncertain. But for the first time, Jonathan felt not just the weight of command, but the subtle thrill of connection. The possibility of partnership beyond politics, beyond mission. A spark between two beings from entirely different worlds, drawn together by circumstance, respect, and something neither dared to name. Days later, as Earth's delegation prepared to depart, Lyra accompanied Jonathan to the starport. The two moving through crowds of merchants, officials, and curious onlookers, she walked beside him, close enough to feel the warmth radiating from his presence, yet careful to maintain her usual poise. "I admit, Admiral, I have underestimated humans. I have underestimated you." "More than once," she said. Voice quiet, almost intimate, Jonathan's gaze met hers. Calm, unwavering, and yet, here we are. Stronger for it. He gestured toward the waiting starcruiser, its sleek form gleaming under the port lights. Earth's fleet leaves Veralia stronger, the treaty secured. And perhaps the future a little brighter. Lyra's lips curved in a sly smile. "Don't let that go to your head, Admiral." "Respect earned does not equate to infallibility," Jonathan chuckled, his voice carrying a rare warmth. "Wouldn't dream of it, Lyra. Wouldn't dream of it." The two of them boarded the ship together, allies in a universe where trust was rare, where alliances shifted like sand under wind. Yet in that moment, walking side by side toward the shimmering vessel, there was understanding, subtle, quiet, and potent. A recognition that mutual respect could grow into something far more dangerous, far more profound. Two beings from entirely different worlds had found not just alliance, but something neither had expected, a connection forged in chaos. Humor, danger, and unwavering competence. And as the engines roared to life, the city of Veralia fading beneath them, Jonathan Hawley allowed himself the faintest smile, knowing that sometimes the greatest battles were fought not just in the stars, but in the moments between words, between actions, between two beings who had underestimated each other, and in that underestimation had found respect, trust, and a spark that neither would ever forget.